Hello? Oh, yes. No? Yes, okay. Okay, I haven't been on this stage before, so I wasn't quite expecting that light. So my apologies that I looked startled. It was not you. So good afternoon and welcome to the Young Pegasus Poetry Competition celebration. My name is Dale McNeil. I'm the Assistant Director for Public Services at the San Antonio Public Library. On behalf of the library's Board of Trustees, our director, and the entire library system, I would like to welcome you all here today. Thank you so much for joining us as we come together to honor these amazingly talented young poets. I would like to thank and recognize the San Antonio Public Library Foundation for their ongoing support of this important program and for all of their support throughout the year. I'd also like to recognize and welcome our 2019 Young Pegasus judges. They will be introduced to you more fully in just a couple moments. Thank you, each of the judges, for all your time and all your support for today's honorees. I'd also like to welcome and recognize two members of our Board of Trustees. Jean Brady is here, and Marcy Ince is here as well. And I'd also like to recognize Beth Graham, President of the Friends of the San Antonio Public Library, which also provides a great deal of support for the library as well during the year. Thank you. Today, as you probably already know, we will hear from local young poets, children and teens, whose works were chosen to be published in this edition of the Young Pegasus Anthology. This is the 93rd year of the publication of this anthology. Each of the young poets published in this anthology is helping to shape the city's future. They're creating a greater appreciation and understanding of poetry. They're enhancing the city's literary heritage, and they're preserving and expressing our local culture. We're grateful for their participation and applaud them for their efforts and talent. At this time, I'd like to invite Crescencia Huff, the Interim Coordinator of Children's Services, and Jennifer Velasquez, Coordinator of Teen Services at the San Antonio Public Library, to come up and introduce us to the young poetry judges and to begin the actual program today. Please help me welcome Crescencia and Jennifer.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to introduce the judges for the 2019 Young Pegasus Poetry Competition. Each of these judges spent months evaluating over 1,700 poems written by poets ranging in age from 5 to 18. We are so fortunate to have these dedicated individuals who offer their time and talent to make Young Pegasus possible. Jay Brandon is both an author and an attorney. While Jay enjoys a good courtroom battle, he also enjoys a very successful writing career. Currently, there are 17 of Jay's books held in the San Antonio Public Library collection, including Against the Law, a courtroom drama, published in 2018. We are also happy to report that Jay had a poem in the 1971 Young Pegasus Anthology. Anthony, the poet Flores, is a well-known poetic voice in San Antonio, renowned for his love of the San Antonio Spurs and tacos. He has penned and performed tributes to Huevos Rancheros and, of course, Manu Ginobili. The San Antonio Current named Anthony a San Antonio poet who should be on your radar. Most importantly, however, one of his pieces was selected for publication in the Young Pegasus Anthology in 1985. Fernando Esteban Flores is a native son of Texas and graduate of the University of Texas at Austin. A retired middle school teacher, Fernando was recently selected to work with San Antonio's first poet laureate, Carmen Tafoya, in Gemini Inc.'s mentorship program. Like fellow Judge Anthony Flores, Fernando was recognized by the San Antonio Current as a San Antonio poet who should be on your radar. Fernando was also invited to join the Chicano Fine Art Museum as their resident poet. Jane Fott Hansen teaches English, literature, and literary criticism at San Antonio College, where she is also the Writing Center Director. A teaching consultant with the San Antonio Writing Project, Jane also sponsors a youth writing workshop during the summer. Esperanza Garza Danweber began her work exploring literature early in life by sneaking a flashlight under the covers to read after bedtime. She continued this vocation in San Antonio ISD as an English and social studies teacher before becoming the proud school librarian at Jefferson High School in the neighborhood where she was raised. She describes herself as a teacher, organizer, advocate, facilitator, collaborator, reader, writer, and learner, or in other words, a foot soldier in the war against illiteracy and ignorance. Solana Gonzalez grew up in San Antonio and has traveled the world as a journalist, dancer, and librarian. Her debut children's book, All Around Us, has won numerous national awards, including the 2018 Tomas Rivera Mexican-American Children's Book Award. James Rosenall teaches at San Antonio College. His classes range from English as a second language to science fiction and creative writing. When he was in 6th grade, his teacher made the class create poetry notebooks. Is that the notebook? Oh, wow. He still has those poems in a folder with a hand-drawn Pegasus gracing the cover. Thank you to all our judges.
The San Antonio Public Library has been honoring and celebrating San Antonio's young writers since 1927 with this competition. This is the longest running youth poetry competition in the country, and we're so proud of it. As Crescencia said, more than 1,700 poems were submitted this year, and 89 of them were selected. And you represent the 67 poets that were published in this anthology. We're so proud that these poets are here to share their works with us today. And I want to let you know that as you walked in, you likely received a card like this from NOWCast. Our celebration today is being live streamed onto the interwebs. And with this card, you'll have the address so that you can share the video from today's celebration today. So, are you ready to get started? A little bit? Yep. All right. Let's begin. Miss Imelda is going to help people up onto the stage, and Miss Yasmin is going to catch you as you leave. And Miss Crescencia will be doing the 9 through 12-year-old group, and I'll be representing the 13 to 18-year-old group.
Okay. Madeline McCabe.
Monkeys and babies climbing dangerously. Every vine snaps. Loving moms catch them. Even dad saved the moms. Imagine being a monkey. Never human again. Ever again.
Ethan Stone. Stones, stone stick. You want to come stand over here so I can see? Stones, stone stick to the big, beautiful river on the edge of the world. None lives there. It's astonishing. Every ocean leads there. Annie Alvarado.
The Best Buy trip. Tick-tock goes the clock. Waiting there at Best Buy, what a bore. My feet kicking hard on the floor. I keep asking my mom, are we done? Are we done? Because this Best Buy trip isn't so fun. 10 more minutes, the people say. It doesn't feel like it. It feels like all day. I feel like kicking, screaming, and yelling. Get me out of here before I start rebelling.
Sloan Holdridge.
At the zoo. At the zoo, there's a cockatoo, there's some bees and some trees, there's a polar with a molar, and there's a parakeet who is very neat. And at the zoo, there's a cockatoo to cock all day for play.
Faith Caitlin Cardillo.
I have a baby sister who walks around the house. She talks to anybody, even if it's a mouse. I have a baby sister who needs a diaper change. I change her smelly booty until she's nice and clean. Before I put on her diaper, she gets up and runs away. So now I have a naked baby sister who runs around the house all day.
Josiah Cavazos.
Emotions. I don't know how I feel, but you feel like a cloud that is just covering the sun for being bright.
Scarlett Dean.
Charles Darwin went out one day. He saw some sights when he went to play. He saw awesome bugs and really cool slugs and thought that they changed every day.
Ila Kanaskar.
The tiger in the night, waiting, watching, listening, in the dark, in the night. It is dark, but he can see, catching breakfast for his family. When he walks, he makes no sound, his eyes near to the road on the ground. Watch out, now he's going to pounce, waiting, watching, listening, in the dark, in the night.
Victoria Nicole Godkin.
Shadows, sly, haunting every moment, almost always there, dying to crawl out, only afraid of sunlight, wary of what will happen, sneaking up your spine.
Carolyn Price.
Shall I only love the sea, sitting by it every night, feeling the breeze that gives me life? Shall I only love the sea, watching it wave and stare at me with a deep blue love? Shall I only love the sea, or should I push away the water and begin a whole new life?
Adan Castro.
There once was a grumpy old man who met a celebrity but wasn't a fan. The celebrity said hi, the old man said bye, and the celebrity let out a cry.
Claire Huntsman.
A tiny particle of dust was flying through the air. A sunbeam fell upon it, and they danced, a playful pair. The dust looked like a butterfly floating on the breeze. I reached out my hand to touch it, pulled it back. Dust makes me sneeze. And sneezing makes my eyes itch. Itching makes me cry. Crying makes my jaw ache and makes my food taste dry. Next time I see a piece of dust flying through the air, I won't even try to touch it. I don't need such a scare.
Ava Jimenez.
My pencil. I really love my pencil. It's the best in the school. Number 1 is overrated. Number 2 is never hated. Its eraser is pink. It gets rid of the mistakes I think. Its body is yellow. It helps me say hello. From top to bottom, it stands perfectly straight. For years and years, it's been used and has never gone out of date.
Alysia Johnson.
Oh, I'm saying it?
The Box Factory. The paper that's really plain, above all others, is the cardboard. Clean, cheap cardboard. Never forget the simple and fancy cardboard. The commodity that's really fine, above all others, is the line. Are you upset by how little it is? Does it tear you apart to see the line so pure? A tray, however hard it tries, will always be woolly. Down, 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 into the darkness of the tray, gently it goes, the hirsute, the woolly-minded, the woolly. I saw the little support of my generation destroyed, how I mourned the hanger. Are you upset by how teeny it is? Does it tear you apart to see the hanger so least? How happy is the cylindrical tube? Are you upset by how tube-shaped it is? Does it tear you apart to see the tube so vasiform? I cannot help but stop and look at the bottom mill. Does the mill make you shiver? Does it? Joey Kramer.
This poem is sad. It's so very dreary. Oh, so dreadful, it makes me teary. It's hard to write, it's only getting harder. It's like rhyming orange, it's a really slow starter. This is unfortunate, it will be my downfall. It's so horrible, when you'll read it, you'll bawl. This poem has no humor, it makes me glum. It's so horrible, so sad you'll be numb. It's like a book about pollution, so very bad, it has no solution.
Harini Logan.
My parents took me to a haunted house. I heard a strange sound, which I thought was a mouse. By the time we went further, I knew it was not, and some time later, I was thoroughly distraught. My parents were dismissive, not hearing the sound, but I knew for sure that a ghost was around. They're under a spell, I thought and knew, but the sounds got louder, as if my thoughts were a cue. I woke up and realized that it was just a dream. Then my mother told me that she heard me scream. Thank you.
Genesis Diaz Reyna.
Los bomberos ayudan a las personas siempre y con cualquier cosa. Los bomberos son chistosos igual que poderosos. Son grandes y fuertes y muy inteligentes. Tienen cosas padres y también muchos trajes. Tienen misiones que cumplir. Tienen cosas pesadas y personas ocupadas.
Troy Santillanes. Troy, come on up.
Out to the tortilla chit.
I searched the grocery store in haste, try to find that sweet lip-smacking taste, and there it is in aisle 9, just $1.39. A bag of chips, most delicious. Check the label, they're not nutritious. And do you know how satisfied I feel while eating tortillas fried? I savor each bright yellow curl until it seems that I may hurl their praises. I will always sing. Tortilla chips are my everything.
Bernabe Esquivel.
Mi pasión con el fútbol es más grande que un balón. Cada vez que juego se me sube la ilusión.
Arav Gedala.
Treats. Chocolate cake, sweet and baked, a small delight, crunchy, soft, heavy, light. Dessert is my favorite food. Cake, cupcake, cookie, ice cream, all in the fridge, some in the freezer. The popsicles are a nice summer treater. Not green, not blue, not orange, not goo. I want a treat, perfect and sweet, and I expect it to meet my few expectations. I hope you can see that dessert is the best, but sometimes it can be a sugary mess.
Sophia Hall.
A ghostly gumbo. Down in the south, there's a city by the river. Historical New Orleans may bring you a shiver. The sounds of jazz, along with tapping feet, smells from restaurants rise up from Bourbon Street. The gumbo at our nose is simply the best, but there's more to the story, let me tell you the rest. You may hear a cry in the shadows after close. Through the darkness and cold, the chef's ghost arose. In the blackness he dwells with no wish to haunt, causing horror and torment, this is not his wont. To ease his sadness, he makes a dish every night. It is worse than a hunger pang, wanting someone to enjoy his delight. With the glare of sunlight, his spirit will fade, and comes the staff to marvel at what he made. Roux, shrimp, and okra, a gumbo beyond perfection. Missing a beloved life, this is his last connection.
Ania Jimeno Marco.
My frog. The frog jumped up on my windowsill, then back into the pond. He looked at me, I looked at him, I think we formed a bond. Splish, splash, jump, dash, into the water we dive. I did almost 20 jumps, he did 85. Together we see lilies floating everywhere, and then we see some algae sitting here and there. At night when it is getting dark and it's time to go to sleep, I sit in grass and think about his long-lasting leaps. And when we have to say goodbye, we both exchange a hug and promise to meet each other here again. He says he'll catch a bug.
Bella Mesa.
I am from Apples and Acorns. I am from Ballet and Big Brothers. I am from Chuck E. Cheese and Champion Spurs. I am from Disney and Daycare. I am from enchiladas and eggs when they are scrambled. I am from frolicking in footwear. I am from grapes and garage sales. I am from Haddon and hot tubs. I am from ices and iPads. I am from jump rope and jewelry. I am from Krispy Kreme and Kartoffel. I am from Legos and lollipops. I am from macaroni and magic time machine. I'm from the name game in Neverland. I'm from Over the Rainbow and O'Reilly Auto Parts. I am from Poor Day and Playdates. I'm from Quiet Time and Quilts. I'm from Real Monsters and Rough Play. I'm from SeaWorld and Sandals. I'm from Tea Time and Tantrums. I'm from Under the Sea and Underwear on My Head. I'm from Velvet Christmas Dresses and Vermicelli. I'm from Whales and Whoppers. I'm from X-Men and X-rays from when I had a kidney infection. I am from Yo Gabba Gabba and York Peppermint Patties. I am from Zapatos and Zoolander. I am from a place I still live. I am from San Antonio, Texas.
Anish Segal.
rises above into the fiery sky, looking down onto the distant planets, sinks down like a star ready to die, its dream looking like a table of granite. When it's compared to the shining moon, the sun is like the boy with no friends, moon like the star in a popular room, yet the sun still magnificently won't end. When the sun's essences blaze a homeland, the innocent grass is scorched by the heat. It's like this glorious sun has it all planned, searing and killing like ants going to eat. As it is, the sun, a bright sphere of fire, produces light and is greatly admired.
Karina Smith.
My thin skin so vulnerable, a life of paper. My thin skin so vulnerable, will I be broken down or built up? With possibility in endless colors, it's a complex decision of shades. Used and discarded, but not a lonely life. With pieces of me everywhere, and a reminder of memories, or together I say, with fantasies or facts. My life renewed or thrown to the side, the decision of others changes my future. But then, I've been ripped apart, but then put together, I won't have a blank canvas for creativity, a new life to start.
Giselle Torres.
Social media. It's a race to the top, quantity over quality now. Do you want to win at life? Surely this is how. A war going on, hurt whoever you can. Friends or strangers, that's the plan. A leader and their followers, apparently their friends. Even if you're successful, the fight never ends. Do the worst things you can, as long as you win. Scar yourself to be better, eat till you're thin. I could have died, but that's okay. As long as I'm famous, I can fade away.
Sophie Trevino.
Dark Horse. Ominous hoofbeats shatter the night, sounding like thunder all over the plain. Age-old racehorse's spirit runs free, stopping to rest and then starting again. His message of gloom can be heard all around, over the wastelands, through every river. Dark Horse is coming, fearsome, determined. No moon is showing, if only a sliver. The darkness is coming, dauntless and cold, bringing the memories, mourning the past. Dark Horse's run is just one of the many. It may be the first, but it won't be the last. Hoofbeats are slowing, softening now. Still they are hostile of losing their spark. Morning is dawning, purple and gold. Dark Horse dissolves at the song of a lark.
Jack Whittington.
A heart-pounding ride from Six Flags Park, a spine-tingling sight, it made my thoughts go dark. The screeching cart, the squealing wheels, one thing's for sure, I don't have much zeal. The shadow of a vulture, I'm uneasy with it overhead. With this tense feeling, I wish I stayed in bed. My body turning numb, filled with regret, a whimper leaking out, my worst idea yet.
Kira Clements.
Time can wander. It is a thin, taut string that stretches miles into yonder and weaves through your being. Time can bend. It frequently tangles in a knot or a shorn of each end, though you perceive this not. Time can leak. On occasion a strand severs, and distant memories seek the trail to your mind's endeavors. Time can pour. Fates you've yet to comprehend are toiled and suffered for, through each rift in its thread. Time can tear, and you are its bearer.
Eleanor Curtright.
She lies in the water face first. She lies in the water, never to fly again. Do they wonder about her, never returning? Do they even care? Do they go around the flowers, happy as always, or do they buzz and cry around their house for the one that is lost? Was she the best worker? The only mistake she made on that fateful day to sit by that pool of water. And when she never came back, did they cry? Did they scream? Or did they go around as usual, buzzing in a dream?
Mara Flores.
Ode to ice cream. When I need a summer treat or simply something creamy and sweet, ice cream, you are always there for me, a truly delicious delicacy. You come in many different flavors, so hard to choose which kind to savor, but the one thing I ask of you is please try not to give me brain freeze.
Christopher Shaver. Winter morbidity. The sky darkens and the cold wind calls. The sun puts on a cloudy shawl. The moon shines bright in the dark of night, and the wolves begin to howl. Deep in the forest, off in the long dirt way, one small doe has found a place to stay. The rest of its herd have fed the birds. Now the wolves begin to howl. The pack moves down the long dirt way into the forest where the doe now stays. The fog rolls in and the chase begins, and the wolves begin to howl. Like shadows, the pack moves through the night, chasing the doe in its startled flight. It is caught in the jaws of their snapping maws. The wolves, victorious, howl. Deep in the forest, in a grave-like place, a little doe lies with cuts on its face. Blood flows from its head, staining white snow red, and the wolves no longer howl. Lottie Sherwood.
For the gravelly voice that greets me at the door to his house, for the questions he asks repeatedly with no memory of the words before, for the wise kid from Brazil who knows the way the jaguar stalks, for the giant hugs and the I love you whispers that flow from ear to ear, for the many peppermints slipped out of pockets and the years of thinking there must be a factory in his pocket. I never ate the peppermints. At the time, I didn't like pepper or mint. Sometimes I wish I ate the peppermints because they don't get slipped out of pockets anymore. For the weird and random stories I have heard about the importance of life and how it corresponds with animals like a donkey and a monkey. For the hope and wishing that he at least makes it to see me graduate high school. For trying to pick me up, even though I'm too big.
Michael Weiner.
Pigeons. It is quiet in the park. After lunch, the crowds are few. Here the statues live in terror because of what the pigeons do. Pets and people feel their wrath. I wouldn't venture in their path. These pigeons are bombers waiting to strike. Just one pigeon can ruin your hike. So don't be scared or let your dog bark. Just know that pigeons are the predators of the park.
We're going to start the 13 through 18-year-old group.
The day I sold lemonade. Once I tried to sell lemonade, one hot day in July, and I said it was delicious, though it was all a bunch of lies. Truthfully, this lemonade is not a sight to see. It's an ooey gooey, rotten, smelly, ugly shade of green. It might have been the lemons, or maybe they were limes, or probably the sugar, which I mistaken for salt 1,000 times. Later, I shut my stand down after I do not sell a single cup, and tomorrow I will try again and wish for better luck.
Hazel Spedding.
Recipe for sorrow. Preheat your oven to 600 degrees, approximately the heat of the flames of hell. Mix a cup of loss, 2 tablespoons of heartbreak, and just a dash of bad weather. Set aside. Stir in 4 horrible days and a 1/4 cup of scathing words. Add loneliness to taste. Gently fold in a cup of longing and a teaspoon of rejection. Bake for as long as it takes for guilt to simmer. Serve immediately and savor.
Maddie Toland.
5 directions to my house. 1, go to the center of a wonderful city. 2, walk along the path of the river. 3, hop over the stones that cross. 4, to the neighbors that stand with you. 5, at the house of the sky before it rains. 6, I said 5, but now there are 6 cats wandering the street.
Shreya Chandri.
The Roman Circus. And let the chaos awaken. Welcome the intro, with 1 million acrobats and acrobirds gliding through the air, somersaulting and winter salting and autumn salting and spring salting. Welcome the Fire Master, the dragon inside a human, burning with the licorice flame. Welcome the beast, glaring golden from the ghastly glowing ghost of sunlight. Welcome the floor, streaked with the pallid flakes of sand. Welcome the tent, coated with the mortified, bland taste of blood. Welcome the audience, dancing with their maroon ashen jars of joy. Welcome the king, the last man standing, with a proud crown commanding all of the chaos into his pocket.
Michaela Christie.
In a year. It's strange how much you can change in a year, and scary what you can build when you're filled with fear. It begins with shame that came when you did what your so-called God forbade. That's when you start to scratch and you just can't patch all the holes you made. Soon you're found out and they're filled with doubt because they can't trust you anymore. So you're sent away while your mother prays, crying on the floor. And your dad feels so bad because his little girl's gone, while you get pills for your brain that just numb the pain so you can try to go on. But then you meet her and it feels like your world has turned around. There's something about her that has your head in the clouds and you just can't seem to come back down. Now all the pain and hurt that you felt at first, that had once seemed so vile, turns to something new, and soon you're through with all those years of denial. There's nothing mundane about what can change in a year, and it is beautiful what you can build when you're filled with fear.
Danielle Grace Lyon.
I'm sorry, I said your name wrong.
That's okay. I am a universe. I am a universe because I'm not what I seem. I'm an underwater fish with scales that gleam, a lion with claws so sharp and extreme, and a tall giraffe so elegant and supreme. I am a universe because I was made from the stars, in galaxies past Mercury, Saturn, and Mars. I'm from a place beyond planets just like ours. I have an imagination that can't be put behind bars. I am a universe because my mind has learned to dance, to make lots of mistakes, and to take a chance. I'm much more than what you see at first glance. I'm spontaneous in order for my life to enhance. You have to look past my front cover and first page. Please don't be fooled by my height or my age, because beneath my smile there could be furious rage, or a butterfly waiting to come out of her cage.
Joelle LeMay. On this side, sweetie.
The Suffocating Star, the story of a girl with asthma. An astronaut on the ocean floor, I find myself trapped behind every door. My knuckles are scarred from every time I have knocked on this broken vessel's rotting wood and locks. This sunken ship and its death and misery holds me in chains that never seem to rest. Instead, with each tug, they go stronger and stronger, and the water around me is cruel with its currents that tug on my oxygen with a will of their own, but never finish me off, leaving my tank half full. In reaching up to the sky, my arms fall half an inch short of joining the stars in the space they call home. Inside my own skin, I am drowning. That by which I live is my flaw.
So if all the Milky Way space cannot cure me, then I will spend my days a suffocating star.
Olivia Lanford.
This one, thank you. Little rocking chair. Emerald glasses filled brim top with lemonade straight from the skin. Blue-rimmed glasses clouded with stories, milky eyes foggy with mirth. Undivulged secrets and secrets of undivulged legends and secrets of another land. Rough languages cradling words of love only the little ears are meant to hear. As they run tractors and horses into thin legs, run through with veins peeking out from the little wicker rocking chair.
Joseph Ramon.
Paper cuts. A paper cut is a little scratch, yet from it you still feel the wrath. The little paper, a mutilated scrap. Remembering the time when it was whole, part of a tree, housing an oriole. Remembering when man came and cut it down, split it into pieces, and robbed it of its crown. What once stood proud and tall, now an example of how the great shall fall, getting its revenge when it can by cutting the fingers of man.
Eva Luisa Newman-Caro.
I almost began to chop my hair, dreads that downfall ever so elegantly. Few might grasp just how I managed to keep them so, juggling the knots atop my head, laying not monstrously, not oppositionally in any way, but placed in orderly chaos. Question me if you must, but respectfully, you have not seen dreads as clean and pampered as mine. To one, they are misplaced. Underneath my hair, a valiant businesswoman lies, exhilarated by my young ambition, zealous yet free.
Murdula Shan.
Cornflakes and Chennai. How to be an American was the only thing on his mind as he ate cornflake cereal in a tiny apartment in Chennai. How to be an American was his only thought as he played cricket games and hand-washed dirty socks. How to be an American, he never thought how to go, yet his own father pushed him to set foot there and explore. So he left and arrived at another sandy beach. Now in the heart of Florida, he was far from his world's reach. Only once this boy went back to take his wife with him, away from their home and across the Atlantic Ocean. They continued to strive and hope for the best. And finally, they had you, clinging to every breath. A child so small, yet so big in their world, for you were their only American baby girl. Every day you taught them how exactly to be, a little closer to America, as only an American can be. You taught them how, at only the age of 4, the difference between dimes and nickels and quarters. At age 6, you taught them how to study for American tests. At age 7, you taught them how to be the American best. At age 8, you taught them how to read American novels. At age 11, you taught them how to deal with your American problems. At age 13, you taught them how to be proud of all American things. At age 14, you taught them how to deal with American teens. And with every step you took, you showed them America. You made this their home and made every day a miracle. You showed them how to do almost everything, from watching American shows to wearing skinny jeans, from eating cheeseburgers to how to hold your pencil, from talking back as you got older to keeping your friends close, from singing American songs to how to do things Americans did wrong. And you showed them how to be a perfect American, even though others might only see you as an Indian. And you might not remember your mother's native tongue. You might not visit often the place your parents come from. You might never go back there ever again, to the place where a little boy used to pretend that he was here in America, owning a Mercedes-Benz, and nearby was a little girl who never really cared about anything other than the knots in her hair.
And these places in India, they would always roam. And these places were the only things that they both called home. And now here you are, just you three, alone and together, as American as Indians can be.
Leah Forrest.
Pantheon. Hear the banshees shriek through the rusted chassis of a Kia taking a corner too fast. Ogle Adonis as his flesh, not marble arm, flexes and a football streaks across the sky, a comet. Listen to the fates as they comb the streets and whisper prophecies through drug-cracked teeth, dragging the string of death behind them. Beware the siren's song as you dance with the darkness pressing in and the music clouding your eyes. Thank Persephone when the deer shakes off its fright and bounces into the field instead of being mangled by your car. Dance with a muse when she collapses into your life with coffee-bright eyes and the words to a once familiar song. Look up to the stars with awe and imagine that there is still a pantheon of hope strung across the sky.
Genesis Linares.
Sorry. Es ilógico. ¿Y se detiene el tiempo? Eso siempre le pregunto al viento. Y sí, me quedo sin aliento para pedirle tiempo al tiempo. Respiro hondo y luego pienso, ¿qué debería pedirle al tiempo? Es ilógico que le pida tiempo, así que le pido versos, uno tras otro, verso tras verso. Se me pasa el tiempo y aún así cada día lo veo pasar más lento. Busco nuevamente sin aliento ese algo, eso que realmente siento. Entonces vuelvo a pedirle tiempo al tiempo, aunque sea ilógico, porque entendí que en un abrir y cerrar de ojos, el tiempo se lo lleva el viento.
Does time stand still? I frequently ask the wind, and yes, I am breathless to ask time for time. I take a deep breath, and then I think, what should I ask time? It's senseless to ask it for time, so I ask it for more verses, one by one, verse after verse. Time flies, and yet I feel it dragging. Breathless, once again, I search for something, that which I really feel. So again, I ask time for time. Even though it is illogical, understanding that in a blink of an eye, time breezes by.
Thank you.
Haley Zimmerman. Forgive me.
To the treehouse. I close my eyes to see it. Frictionless paint, 3 of hearts flying out the window, stomach sore with laughter. I blink tears. Faded handprints hold walls, rusted nails, rotting wood. Nostalgic streaks, the treehouse sleeps.
Rima Fahad.
Cold air on hot skin. The feeling of cold air on hot skin, lying awake to rain that daubs the sky gray, sipping oolong tea at the table with your thoughts like itinerant guests. The split-second wonder of opening your eyes underwater, looking up at the majestic kaleidoscope of light. The blurry but majestic moment of seeing for the first time. Walking in the wind, giggling loudly when it whispers its secrets and flirts with your ears. Beauty lives in ephemeral moments. It hides in the splendor of cold air on hot skin.
Abigail Diaz.
Motion. The pressing in of mortality becomes the smallest small thing, a twinkle in my eye. It's a no-pressure pressure, laid back and bittersweet. Every day, I crawl closer to a time at which I will wink out like a streetlight at dawn, a time at which my coffee-stained heart will sink into the wood of the world, forgotten and unimportant. Life is a twilight, and night always comes, the setting sun, the cleanup after the party. In the darkness, our bodies will be lost in translation, all the blurred lines, the kissed lips, the sleigh bell laughter, and the roller coaster stomachs. And a new generation of leaves will step up only to be blown away by the wind. In the meantime, though, we are dogs running through an open field, smile-mouthed and unafraid. In constant flowing motion, roaring river, loud racehorse car galloping along the highway, the wind feels different, less a threat and more a catalyst for how far we can go. Life, terrible brilliance. When you are over, I want to know I wrung every last drop of love out of you. When the twinkle in my eye, that smallest small thing, goes out, somewhere, I will still be in motion.
Ava Nerio.
Wreaking havoc. One wall is full of blow darts, the other's crayon streaked, but the cry inside my heart says havoc must be wreaked. Set off the fireworks, let the trumpets blare, run and go berserk, bring chaos everywhere, put salt where there was sugar, and sugar where there was salt. Get one of your boogers, then say, it's not my fault. I can't help the urges, I must feed the chaotique. My heart's cry emerges, saying havoc must be wreaked. Put squirt guns in your pockets to squirt at passerbys, then run off like a rocket and leave them there to die. Launch the balloons of paint, make sure you don't get caught. For when you're feeling faint, chaos must be wrought. Break the bonds of boredom, confetti must be thrown. Love all that is so random, it must never not be shown. When you ask why I am this way, I might say that I'm unique. But more oftentimes, I simply say, havoc must be wreaked.
Shocking. Hi. C. Monty.
I can't top that.
You didn't bring props?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it's okay.
Flying the kite in the park. Running across the manicured wilderness, picking up speed with successive strides, my arm extended, gaze straight ahead and behind, the cloth catching the breeze, the wind catching the kite out of my grasp, and away, away, with inches then feet above the earth, my feet planted on the earth, and the kite began to soar. Crafted in youth out of an old bed sheet, twigs and twine wrapped up and tied up tight, we made it, painted it with our fingers, the little piggies brushed across the canvas. Patterns of stripes and polka dots until we couldn't tell exactly what it was. And we loved it, and the kite began to soar. The winds never seemed to come in the former wilderness of the backyard, but we ran. Back and forth we ran, it in hand, torn up dirt, knocked up fence, from us flying right into it too much too often. Sun-kissed, touched by the songs of their fluttering feathers and sweet honey hymns, we left outside for the warmth within, and the kite began to soar. Now my sausage fingers hold onto the twine, that small and unsteady string, tethered alone between ground and clouded sky. I set that distant weathered sail, and it fights against the northern gales, the same ones fought by the chipping birds, the buzzing bees, and now naked trees, all unknown to me, above in flight, so far above, and the kite began to soar.
Thank you. Vanessa Mori Blanco.
Bailé con la Catrina. I danced with Lady Death. Icy hands swept in my own, I felt her steal my breath. Fire in my heart, she held me to her chest, like Don Unseen and all her cubs against her beating breast. Bailé con la Catrina. I danced with Lady Death. No cloud of doubt stormed in my mind, no single teardrop left. Me hice como aire, and spread four corners wide. Me hice como fuego, burning in Leon's eyes. Bailé con la Catrina. I danced with Lady Death. She fiddled fibers of my soul and made them her new dress. Bailé con la Catrina, and then I fell, subservient to her spell, and became alive.
You're good, Zach. You're good. Which one are you going to read? No, not at all. Which one do you want? 102. 102. Oh, okay. This is Zachary Ryan Durham. Rungs, or how it sucks to be an old man with cerebral palsy at 18. Do you want me to read it happy or sad? Or in the middle? Okay, I'm going to be me. The brace is set, my palsied legs jerked out to rise as sycamores. Drenched in the root, my being here is baseless, I remain. Tough habits rule, lush temptresses, bare and bright diversions, palsied feet, 6,000 rungs, in spasm, rings I climb. The senses seethed, my palsied legs, awash, maudlin, begrudging, drawn in a twitch, my will and worth, lashed dauntless in the fray. What fantasies, such temptresses, barren, empty spirits, packed with weight, 6,000 rungs, in spasm, rings I climb. That's beautiful. If you want to get your certificate, and then you can go back down the way you were. If you want to, I think it would be better for you to take Lyon that way. Everybody who had a poem read their poem, right? Okay. It's my worst nightmare that we like miss a row or something. Zach's poem got me all shook up because it was so awesome. Friends, I would love it if the poets would stand up. And y'all turn around, turn around, turn around. Yay! Fantastic. You are all published authors. You are all poets. Now, if all the parents of a poet would stand, parents of poets, friends of poets, lovers of poems, you would stand. We want to congratulate the 93rd cohort of Young Pegasus Poets. You're awesome, you're amazing, you're talented. Thank you for sharing your beautiful words with us today. And now, without further ado, let's eat cookies and brownies and fruit and have lemonade and celebrate and read and write and come to the library this summer. Thank you.